What's up, everyone? We are back with Hoshiro. There's a couple of videos on the channel already with Hoshiro, so if you like his content, you're in the right place. We're doing all white Magic the Gathering cards today, and some are good and some are bad, and there's no in between. Okay, there's gonna be, well, there might be a little bit in between with one of the cards, but usually the card is either good or bad. First off, I do want to give a little bit of a challenge to you guys. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will teach Hoshiro competitive Magic the Gathering on stream on Twitch, at TheOneJame on Twitch. Okay, 1,000 likes, and I will teach you competitive Magic. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's learn it.
All right. One more Yu-Gi-Oh player transitions over to Magic the Gathering. Let's freaking go.
To be honest, I only played Master Duel in like a few days. Like it was 2 matches. I haven't touched it for quite a bit.
Oh, that's fair. Well, we're going to give you 5 Magic the Gathering cards. They're going to be all white Magic cards. Okay? All white episode today. Let's go ahead and get started.
So, Defiler of Faith. Creature, it is 3 solo bird mana, cost of 5, with 2 of them being white mana. Vigilance, as an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you might pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 less white magic. When cast, if you pay life this way, this effect reduces only the amount of white mana you pay. Whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So first off, Vigilance. Just a reminder, what would that be?
It doesn't have to. You can attack with this and also block on your opponent's.
Okay, so that's pretty good. More mid game. Does white sacrifice their creatures often?
You can if you you can mix and match colors in Magic. So if you play like a white, the black color of mana usually has a lot of sacrificing. White has some too, but usually it's a black mechanic. But if you put like black mana and white mana in deck, you can play black cards that can sacrifice things. But usually that's in. But you can combine colors.
Okay. Yeah, the one problem with that is you would have to be casting white permanent spells in order to then get the creatures to sacrifice for your black spells.
There's also some colorless cards that you can put in any deck that lets you sacrifice things for value.
Gotcha.
That you can just play in anything.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how common that would be. So you pay 1/10 of your life to just spend 1 less white mana.
There's a card called like Ashnod's Altar or Dementia that like lets you either like sacrifice creatures to mana or sacrifice creatures to cards.
Yeah. Right now, I'm thinking this card is okay. Not amazing, not bad. Just a pretty decent card. Because, right, my thought process is I'm paying 1/10 of my life just to save 1 mana. Yes, that is a nice to have, but I don't think it's just such a weird card. Like, yeah, I get a 1/1 creature that can be used to block, but if my deck isn't really sacrificing, it's just really a additional monster. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh where I turn that creature into advantage via extra deck plays, or say another card sacrifices a creature. That's just
also in Magic you can have unlimited creatures in play. There's not like 5 zones.
Yeah, I get that. At the same time, to me, it just seems like the value of the body is also just not that great. Like, yeah, the main thought is just the value. It's a 1/1 that doesn't really change much of anything. It's not like it has an effect. I don't know how this interacts with white if they're not sacrificing them.
Right.
For stuff. This is where you're gonna tell me it's broken?
What is your final answer on Defiler of Faith?
I think this card is probably decent. Not that bad, but I don't think it's amazing.
Okay, yeah, this card is pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, all these cards I'm going to show you are either good or bad.
Yeah,
I don't even think.
I was thinking like, wait.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Defiler of Faith was ever hyped at all either. The one, like you said, the 1/1s aren't really like that relevant. But also, casting a 5 mana 5/5, like if this card was like 3 or 4 mana, it would be like pretty good. But the fact that you have to get to 5 mana and then you have to cast a permanent spell, not just any white spell, the spells being discounted by 1 white is pretty good. and paying 2 life to cast them. That's like a different way of paying Phyrexian mana, which is a thing that's like super broken in Magic. But whereas the effect is broken of this, the fact that it's 5 mana and you only get 1/1s for casting only white permanents makes it a little bit too niche to be good.
Yeah, I wonder if this wouldn't be too bad if it was like, and for black, because like you said, if they're sacrificing creatures, the ability to generate a body off your spell to then empower your other plays, not have to sacrifice some other things you might want to keep alive.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next card, and the next card is going to be this one.
So we have Extraction Specialist. 2 generic, 1 white, so it's total 3 mana. Lifelink. When Extraction Specialist enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature cannot attack or block for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. Okay. I was about to say that it seemed so. Just remember, lifelink, whenever he deals damage, I heal that damage, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that also explains why you said Phyrexian, the pay to life is actually broken for reducing mana cost. This deck just gets their life back, it seems.
Oh, they don't
deck,
always go. All these 5 cards when they show you aren't necessarily going in the same deck. These are just all the same color.
Yeah. Yeah. All I should have said is, seems like this color with the white color is getting their life back, so that paying that 2 life isn't like, because my thought process for that pay 2 life was, oh, I'm paying a tenth of my life just to save 1 mana.
Right.
But if I'm getting it back, it's not as bad.
Right. Yeah, the majority of the life gain cards are in white and black.
Okay. So with Extraction Specialist, when the creature enters the battlefield, do they still activate their effects off of him?
If they haven't entered the
Because I know it
battlefield
says the
effect,
creature cannot.
yeah, the effects are not negated.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this card's good. You get a heal off him, he's early game, he's only 3 mana, and then you get to get 1 or 2 or less creature cards back from the grave, which would likely have a beneficial effect, even if they can't attack or block. You're mainly just using it for their on-field effect. Or, yeah.
Yeah, this card is really good. This card is played in
Okay.
multiple formats, Standard and Pioneer, and this card is usually used in decks that play Court of Calling and Collected Company in green-white either value or combo decks, where when your opponent kills your combo piece, you can bring your combo creature back to the battlefield and do the combo. This is particularly good in a deck called Amalia combo. It is Abzan colors, which is green, white, and black. There's different colors of different combinations of mana. Green, white, black is called Abzan. It is a very good tier 1 deck in Pioneer, and this card is at least a 2 or 3 of in that deck. And a lot of people sideboard this card too, because a lot of people try to remove your combo, and then you can just bring the cards back and do the combo again. So, very good card, and good job on this one.
Gotcha.
And Court of Calling and Collected Company, I know I just said those in passing, but Court of Calling is basically like a tutor a creature from your deck onto the battlefield, and then Collected Company basically does the same thing, but it's a little bit more random.
Okay.
It's like Collected Company is like, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, and then put 2 creatures onto the battlefield with mana value 3 or less. And that card's very, very good. Okay, let's move on to the next card, and it is this one.
Halo Fountain. Again, 2 colorless plus 1 white mana for a total of 3 converted. It's an artifact. So at the cost of 1 mana at instant speed, untap a tapped creature you control. Create a 1/1 green or white citizen creature token. At the cost of 2 white mana, untap 2 tapped creatures you control. Draw a card. Oh no. So at the cost of 5 white mana, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You win the game. I don't think there's a chance you're ever going to get 15 creatures. There's no chance.
White. Remember I said about there being an unlimited amount of creatures that you can have in play at one point? You can have literally a million creatures. But also white.
Yeah, I get this.
The white color of mana is the one that basically spams creatures. It's like the one color that spams creatures in general. White is usually like the removal is basically exile removal and sweepers, the creatures are usually like creature tokens and going wide with a whole bunch of creatures, and then the removal is like the 1-for-1 removal is usually exile removal. That's just like what white does the best, like compared to the other colors of that.
And quick question with this artifact, I can use these effects multiple times per turn, or is it just one of these effects per turn?
Since you can't untap a card after it's tapped, you can only do it once per turn. It's like Magic's way of saying once per turn. But if you can untap this card in any way, if the card says untap an artifact, you can use it again.
Okay. Yeah, right now I'm going. This is definitely either yeah, it's broken, or yeah, this card's ass. I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is. You're gonna tap one creature you control and create another, and that one's probably going. Well, that creature doesn't have haste, so there's not immediate value on it outside of a body on board. I'm gonna say this card's pretty darn good, because my thought process is you're rarely ever going to get the final effect, just win the game. But this at least lets you speed up a clock and also generate card advantage, especially off of the second effect where you spend 2 your mana to untap 2 your tap creatures you control and then draw a card. So that's plus on the card, and then you get to reattack with 2 creatures. Or say you blocked with them, you then also get to attack right after, which would speed up your clock.
Okay. The context of the way you're talking about this card is good in draft, like in a very low powered format of draft or sealed, and that's the way you would use this. But in practice, in competitive Magic, that would be too slow. The win the game text is the only time this card has ever seen play, and it was in a win the game combo. The problem is, if you remove Halo Fountain, you basically can't win in that combo, but it's like a 4-card combo. It was played in Standard back like a year ago or so, and weirdly enough, this card's still in Standard, but no one plays the combo because it requires too many moving parts, and the parts are really easy to remove, so it is too fragile. But you are still able to do this infinite combo in Standard, but no one ever does it because it's not good enough, which means this card is not a good card.
Gotcha.
But I feel like it was an interesting card to bring up because, Yu-Gi-Oh players like Exodia and they like things that they win the game, so this card says win the game.
Well, this one I was like, yeah, you're rarely ever using this bottom effect. Like to me, that just seemed like not something that was going to happen. But speeding up your clock and getting a bit of advantage off of that to me seemed actually pretty decent.
Yep, which it is decent in draft, but it's too slow for competitive. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the second to last card, and that is this one,
Virtue of Loyalty. Oh, okay. So 3 colorless, 2 white. It's an enchantment. Ardent Veil of Reality is going to be another 1 colorless, 1 white mana, instant adventure. Create a 2/2 white night creature token with vigilance. Then exile this card. You may cast an enhancement enchantment later from exile. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Untap those creatures.
Okay, so how to read this card is this is an adventure card, and the first half of the card is the Ardent Veil Fealty part, where you can cast that. It's like basically a different spell. You can cast Ardent Veil Fealty as an instant, as a 1 and a white instant. At any time you can cast 1 and a white. You can cast Virtue of Loyalty itself, the 5 mana enchantment part of the card on the right hand side. Okay, at any point as well as a sorcery speed card as an enchantment that you just put in play. But if you then you lose access to the first part, Ardent Veil Fealty. If you do cast Ardent Veil Fealty, the 1 and a white part, it goes into exile, and then later on the same turn or a different turn, you can cast the 5 mana part of Virtue of Loyalty from your exile.
Gotcha. I was figuring it was just like it was just a graveyard effect, basically.
Oh no, it's not a graveyard effect. They're both actual spells combined in one card, like a pendulum.
Yeah. Okay. So I create a 2/2 white creature token with vigilance at the cost of 2 mana. So vigilance, beginning the game, 2/2. How common is it for creatures with 2 mana to have 3 attack?
Fairly common. It's not.
Okay.
It's not like super rare or anything.
So that creature token doesn't really do anything early game. With vigilance. I was gonna say this card's bad. That first effect, the 1/1, you're getting the white knight creature token with vigilance at that state of the game. The 2/2 is outclassed by most other 2 mana creatures, and then you have to spend 5 mana at the end of your damage, or at your end step to +1 your toughness and attack of all your creatures and untap them, so they can defend next turn. But that's really about it. But for 5 mana, to me, that just seems rather steep. So I'm just gonna say this card's bad.
This card is good.
Huh.
This card is the 2 mana 2/2. You're right in that it is not as good of a 2-drop. The thing about Virtue of Loyalty is a card that late game just takes over the game, and it's almost impossible to beat your opponent after they have this in play, because they'll just attack you for a lot, and then they'll make their creatures bigger, and they all untap, and now they can block, and then next turn you just attack with everything again because you know they're going to untap, and then they get even bigger and then untap again, let alone having 2 of these in play. So it's more of a early game, I'll get like a random 2/2 creature, like it's not that good, but in the late games, this card, since it already made the 2/2, the fact that they're both the same card makes it really good. If this card was 5 mana at the beginning of your end step, put a counter on everything and untap them, and didn't have the other side of it, like the Art of Veil Fealty, this card would not be good. But the fact that the decks that want to play this already want a critical mass of creatures in play, it makes it good.
Okay.
You just want creatures. You don't really care like how good they are most of the time in a deck that's playing this. One of the decks that did very well competitively that played this was an Esper deck. Esper is the 3-color combination of white, blue, and black, and it played a lot of flying creatures. So you can always attack in for damage with this, and with this in play, you get to untap them and they get huge. So your opponent can't ever really block you, but they also can't really attack either. So if you have this in play, you're like super far ahead.
Okay. It starting to sound like it's also a bit of a win more tool for just closing out the game.
It would be win more.
Also at first.
Go ahead.
What I was also gonna say, also when listening to you, is like, wait, you can use this multiple times from the grave or from exile?
No, not multiple times. Once you cast it from exile, it just stays in play like a regular enchantment.
Okay.
And then it's like a continuous spell at that point. But right, it doesn't do that just one time. It's an enchantment which stays in play.
Yeah. Okay, that explains it.
Right, so it just keeps doing that every single one of your end steps. Put a counter on your things, and then this card would be win more, like you were saying, if it didn't have the Art and Veil Fealty half of it, and it was just the second half. Then it would be a win more card, and it would not be. So anyway, I felt like that one was really interesting, and to talk to you about how adventure cards work. So on to the last card.
Phyrexian Vindicator is going to be 4 mana, white. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I play a lot of Destiny 2. That just looks straight out of there.
Straight out of Destiny. That's funny.
Yeah. So creature Phyrexian Horror has flying. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, Phyrexian Vindicator deals that much damage to any other target. So basically, I'm able to reroute any damage that's done to Phyrexian Vindicator to someone else's creature.
That would be done to it, yeah, because it doesn't actually take the damage.
Okay. And I do that more than once per turn, or?
Oh yeah, anytime.
How do I destroy it? Does it just have to be a card that says destroy the card, not deal damage to it?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the only way you can get rid of this.
I'm going to say he's extremely good and extremely annoying card to deal with. He's a 4 mana creature that's a 5/5. He has flying, so he cannot be blocked without having another flying creature.
Or a creature with reach. But
yes. and he is a pain in the butt to destroy, since all damage done to him is redirected to get not my monsters, to your monsters.
Right.
So
It's like a
yeah,
walking
though you
magic
have to have
cylinder.
yeah. He seems broken.
Unfortunately, this card is not good at all.
What?
I know. I want this card to be good. Trust me. But the 4 white pips means that you can't use any colorless mana on this, which means you can't play it in any deck. It has to be like just mono white, basically. The thing about this card is if you ever like resolve this against like a mono red deck or something, you can never lose the game. Like against a specific deck, they can't get rid of this. But against the majority of decks, like 90% of the decks can get rid of this with like any removals.
Okay. Also, I am fairly certain this is a Destiny 2 reference. I just looked at the text at the bottom. We have a character known as Eris Morn. Elish Norn is the person who's saying that.
No way, really?
I'm going. This has to 100% be.
Wait, what? How do you spell? How do you spell? You said Eris Morn?
Yes.
That is. I don't know. That's probably like a crazy coincidence because Elish Norn is.
No.
Elish Norn is a Magic the Gathering character.
Yes, but at the same time, those creatures look like the creatures Eris Morn is attached to. Because here, let me Destiny 2 Hive. Because it looks close to this boss.
I'm gonna actually put this boss in the video because I want to see what it looks like. I don't know how old Elish Norn is in the lore, but if Destiny was created before Elish Norn was created, that's cool. With the humanoid body and with like the wings and everything.
Yeah.
And the spokes. Yeah, I can see it for sure.
I was like, there's no shot.
Yeah, it's like wow, I know I've seen this somewhere before. But yeah, unfortunately, Phyrexian Vindicator is not that good for the reason that I said, but I did want it to be good when it came out. It's an ode to an older card called Phyrexian Obliterator, which says anytime it would take damage, your opponent that the player sacrifices that many permanents. But this card is kind of like that, but the Phyrexian Obliterator card is 4 black mana instead of 4 white mana.
Gotcha.
But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show as always. If you also watching this would like to be in a video yourself, just like Hoshiro here, you can click the Patreon link down in the description below. As always, you can go to ProdigyGames.com and use code JAME7, that's JAME7, to get 7% off of literally anything in the store. Thank you once again, Hoshiro, for coming on the show and evaluating these white cards. If you like the monocolored episodes like this, let me know what color that you would like to see down in the comments below as well, and I will try to do that in one of the next videos. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. Thank you everyone for coming by, and I'll see you next time. And as always, peace.
And don't forget, 1,000 likes.
1,000 likes.
I will learn competitive
1,000 likes and you learn competitive magic. See ya.
Yeah.